I spoke for 5 minutes and forgot to press the power button on the microphone, which is always nice. It didn't bother me at all. I was just like, oh, let's check the microphone. And then it wasn't on. Stop the recording, doing a recording now again. I was saying that I finally reached my goal of feeling emotions more deeply. And I, even though it's not at 100% like I used to in a long time ago, it's about 30%, which is better than before this channel because I started this channel to become more in tune with my emotions and feel them again. And I read somewhere that if you track your emotions, you will be able to feel them more deeply and connect with them. And it's true. After 60 days of just talking about my emotions, yesterday I cried and I was able to connect with my deeply felt insecurities in order to I I I really was feeling it like I knew I was going to cry because I started to feel the tremor in my voice, to notice it. I didn't feel it that much. So basically, usually how I know what I'm feeling is by reacting, how I react, what I think. I do not embody the feeling. And that's exactly what I'm trying to work on, to articulate my feelings until and track them because I learned from somewhere that if you articulate your feelings every day and you keep track of them, you're going to get more in tune. So I'm just documenting all of my feelings that I have, the big ones that I can really tell. I do I'm disconnected. I've noticed that I'm more disconnected from bad emotions than I am from good emotions. I am able to feel happiness. I'm able to feel a bit of fulfillment and excitement. Actually, excitement is one of the strongest emotions I feel. And the other ones are dampened. They are, the volume is at 5%. I just don't connect with them, but I want to. I really want to connect with them because the more I connect with those emotions, the more I can feel something. And I've noticed their absence, and life hasn't been the same since. It happened gradually, but yeah. And it happened because I was trying to be more rational, which I ended up achieving. I became a fully rational person. Well, fully rational, whatever that means. But I became this extremely rational person, and I could see all the emotions that other people had when they spoke, even though they were claiming they are rational. I was like, are you sure? Because you seem to speak from this emotion right now. And they were like, okay, because I was pointing out the emotions that they were speaking and giving them reasons why they were articulating that idea. They were like, oh, fuck. It means I'm not that rational. One of my best friends, he's a human computer, and yet he is a very, very emotional person, even though he used to believe that he's extremely, extremely rational. He has a very high IQ. One of the smartest people I know. I think he's twice as smart as me. Yeah, if I'm a bit above average or the right at average, then he is like double that. No problem. like incredible. And he always thought about himself that he is rational. And I deconstructed all of his arguments, and we had a few conversations where I was like, "Are you sure you want me to prove to you that you are emotional? Because that's where this conversation is going." And I'm like, "I don't want you to be aware of the fact that you are so emotional." And he was like, "No, I'm not emotional. Prove it to me." Even the way you say this, it's so emotional. And all of your stories are about the emotion you felt, and you feel so strongly about things, and you think that those emotions do not cloud your judgment and your rationality. And then I slowly asked him questions. Like, I didn't try to prove him wrong or prove to him that he was emotional. I just asked him questions, and then he was like, after a few sessions of this, while we were having some beers, he was like, "Yeah, I am way more emotional than you." And I'm like, "I know." And this was a shock for him because I'm an artist. I He's an engineer, and he was like, "How can an artist be more rational than me?" And I'm like, "It's not that, it doesn't really matter. Your ability to think is not tied to the fact that you are emotional or rational. Thinking is something different. You might think that rationality is has to do a lot with thinking, and I think that it does have a part that involves thinking, but it's more just about not putting emotions forward, and ways to not really get emotions involved. It's about detachment. And I'm not rational because I think. I'm rational because I don't put my emotions first. I put my thinking first, and my, what's them called? And my arguments first, without the without an emotional backing, just pure argument. And you might notice yourself, and you might the moment I notice that I desire the fact that I should be winning this argument, then I'm like, okay, I got emotional in this argument. And I start to look at it and understand why. And that's how I've been able to detach from my emotions in this pursuit of being more rational. And also because I became a very organized person, not in my outside world, but in my work. And I became a way more focused person because of the painting. And painting really, if you do it the right way, it's a way to focus granularly on one specific thing for hours and hours and hours on end, and just noticing the smallest details and the smallest things about everything. And if you do that for painting, for the outside world, and then if you combine with the fact that I had to explain everything that I was doing for making courses, then I started to just, some days I was just seeing through the matrix. I was seeing the source code. I was like, whoa. And then that had the unintended consequence of detaching me from emotions, because I was so much outside of myself, putting myself out there. at certain points that I saw emotions as a roadblock to my success. And sometimes it's true. Like when you have anxiety and you know you shouldn't, or you have certain beliefs that are fully irrational and purely emotional, and those stand in front of your success, then you might be desiring, let's go get rid of all emotions that do not benefit us. And that's exactly what I did. I got rid of all the emotions that were keeping me down, and noticing all the slip ups that I had during the day. And most of them were because I was truly emotional, and I had sometimes depression, sometimes sadness, sometimes frustration, and all of these emotions. I did not know that back then that these can be a very intense experience that can push you forward. As in, you can use those emotions as fuel to do something else. Like if you're, I tend to use any emotions, especially frustration. Like if I'm frustrated, I'm usually the most creative. But back then I wasn't able to notice, and if I was frustrated, I would let that frustration, instead of use it, I would let it control me, instead of me having a handle on it and using it as a fire, as a passion, because there is a small little difference between passion and frustration. There's like 2% difference, I think. It's like you feel about this subject, you really think something about it, and people enjoy that. People really, really enjoy that. That's why we're more emotional beings than rational ones. And basically, now I'm trying to reverse that and start feeling more emotions, because life got a bit dull. Even though I was excited, I was happy, I was whatever, because I was dampening all of these other emotions for so long. At first doing it actively, and then now it's become an unconscious behavior to disconnect and detach from negative emotions, unproductive emotions, let's say. I'm rewiring my brain to feel things, because it's very difficult now that it has become an unconscious oof, now that it has become an unconscious habit to detach from emotions that are not productive. I have I have had so many repetitions that I don't even notice it. And that's bad, because my mind doesn't understand that now I've changed my idea about emotions. So I have to rewrite the source code of my brain and my processes that go in the background to really feel, because without those, I am bland, and I miss being frustrated as badly as I was. I miss being sad, even, or depressed, or feeling those kinds of emotions. I do feel tiredness. I do feel like frustration sometimes. I do feel anger. I do feel a lot of excitement. Like I get excited about things. I'm like giddy. I'm like, yeah. For this camera, I was super excited, or for other things, or projects. I'm excited about projects as well. And I was excited to start tattooing on the fake skin. Now, I kind of took a break from that, but that's fine. I don't mind. I spent like $150 on a tattoo machine. If I still have it, so if I want it, if I want to just do some more tattooing, I'm probably going to do some more tattooing. But for now, I'm focusing on the things that earn me the most money, and that is just one. Why I have only one business that's making me money, and a few clients that are making me money as well. So I'm gonna focus on making courses. Saying that, today I want to deliver some projects to some clients. I have some photos. I have taken some photos and some videos for them, and I have to send them those photos and videos. And I'm also going to start the second business. I know it seems like I'm starting another business every week, but I have this business that I worked on. I didn't work on it for a year and a half. I just didn't publish the work. I had it 95% done, and I didn't post. I didn't just I just didn't do the last 5% in 1 year and a half, because that's I am it took me a while to realize why, but I'm a bit afraid of success. Imagine that, being afraid of success. But yeah, I'm afraid of the fact that it might change me, and I might become a person that I don't want to be, because I feel like may, the fact that I'm poor makes me more humble, because I don't have the power to be with people, be an asshole to people. But that's not true at all. I used to be an asshole, like before I started meditating when I was 18. I was such a pain in the ass, such an asshole. I was making fun of everybody, and I was a disruptive energy. I had a lot of energy, and I was just everywhere. I was spinning at 100,000 miles an hour. And yeah, and then I started doing drugs. I started doing so many stupid shit, because I was just it would it would have been so easy for me to just go down a rabbit hole, just because I had these addictive personality traits. I was easily addicted to anything. I would get hooked on almost anything, except, thank God, I didn't do hard drugs. I only did like a few pills and a lot of weed. And when I turned 18, I was like, things are going to get serious from now on. So I don't go to juvie, I go to jail. And the punishment is double, because this country is, it doesn't get, if you're an adult, you don't get away with things. And I was like, I'm 18. I don't want to get in trouble. I'm going to quit. And I did, cold turkey. And then literally 6 months later, I was meditating every day. I was running. I was going with my bike like 15 kilometers to the high school. I was learning for the bachelor's degree. I got a great grade. I got into the university I set out to do, into the art school. I didn't prepare for the I got a job. I was earning a lot of money. I saved like for that time. So that's what, 2010, I think. Let's see. So I'm 31, 2011. So it's 2011, and I saved over the summer, I saved 3,500 euros. That's $4,000 for you Americans out there. And yeah, I wasn't doing the prettiest things, but I was working, and I learned a lot about myself, huge ton about myself during that work and meditation. And I got into the secret. Oh my god, how I how what a wrong deep hole I dug for myself with that book. I was reading it once a week, every week, and I was really believing in manifestation, even though my life was crumbling around me. Like I wasn't. The secret really teaches you how to cope, not how to do and get out of a rut. And it taught me how to cope, and I coped so hard that I was in some shitty situations. So I did all the wrong things in my life. So, but I learned from them. And then I realized, like, look, this is bad. This shit is bad. It doesn't, my life doesn't change. You believe in it for a year, and then your life changes in weird ways that you don't really want, because you're like, yeah, this is going to lead me there. Because if you think like all roads lead to your success, then you're going to go down some dark fucking alleys. Because that's what the secret is. It's like believe and it will happen. Let life happen and trust that the secret works and you're going to achieve. That's what my interpretation was. I know people twist that interpretation a bit more to make it more believable, but at its core, the secret is just it's a book and a system of manifestation. And you build this belief, you build proof for this belief. It teaches you how to build this proof for this belief that you can manifest. And there are these like manifestations that you can achieve by just putting your mind and visualizing and just going, setting forward a goal, not a goal, it's not even a goal, and then letting it go, and life will happen around you and it will just happen. No matter what happens, just think that, say that this will lead me to a better life. And that's the tricky thing. If you end up not believing in success, in the secret, and then you achieve something in your life, your mind will say, it's the secret. Even if you don't believe in it, it still works. That's how twisted this whole magical thinking, I like to call it magical thinking, is. It does make life really, really, really colorful because you believe in energies and whatever. But it doesn't make you see the world as it is. So you're going to take shitty decisions. Every time you don't see the world as clearly as you can, and you let other ideas just twist you and your perception, you're going to take very, very bad decisions. And I did take some very bad decisions during that time. And you might be saying, like, this is just coping. He's like putting every decisions on that and not taking ownership. No, I do take ownership of the fact that I took those decisions, but that ideology had so much power over me because those arguments were so hard to get out of. because that's the trick. The more you read the book, the more it helped. I was gullible enough to try the things. I am always trying things, so I tried it, and I built so much proof. It says in the book to imagine like you're gonna find a blue feather, and like, yeah, of course you're gonna find a fucking blue feather. It's like, if you look for something, you're gonna notice it. It's not magic, it's just attention to detail. You're just gonna notice. I'm gonna say, oh, look, you're gonna find a mouse. And you're like, of course, I'm right next to a fucking desk. But it seems like it's different because it's a blue feather. What the fuck? But just go to a mall and you're gonna see like 20 blue feathers. And they're gonna say like you're gonna find one on the street. And that's the more. And if it happens, and it happened to me, I was like, fuck. But then it could have been just, come on, if you're looking for it, you're gonna see it at some point. It's just chance. And uh the problem is, now I don't even, now saying that, I don't even actually remember if I found it on the street or somewhere else in a shop. So notice how it twists your perception and reality, and it makes you kind of lie to yourself a lot. Like if you're in a bad situation, you just try to see the best in it and try to just focus in on manifesting a better relationship with that person, and it ends up keeping you in very bad situations instead of trying to fix them if it is possible, or get out, which are the two viable situations. It just makes you cope. It makes you really, really cope with the situation and believe that the love that you provide to this person will turn back tenfold. And I'm like, dude, if it's a toxic relationship, just get out of it. And yeah, and it doesn't make you see, it makes you believe like you're the nicest and the best person ever. It just is comforting. It's coping and comfort. I'm not saying that discomfort is that good, but a little bit of discomfort is good. Like being a bit more rational and a bit more seeing things, even if they are bad, seeing that they are bad is a very important skill. And yeah, I think that detached me from my emotions a lot as well. I was not, that's when it all started, because I saw that I can change my thinking, my feelings, my perception. And then I started playing with that for the last 14 years. So that's exactly what I did. And now I've twisted my perception so much that I don't feel unproductive emotions. It's not that well, that's the right word. I don't feel them. I don't embody them. I They do happen, but I am not connected to them. And it's the worst thing I've ever done. Well, not really. The worst thing I've ever done is believe into the secret and into manifestation. It's a hard thing to really talk about because it's a failure of mine, a huge failure of mine. It was so hard. I want to speak about this. I want to speak about the fact that it's so hard to get out of that rut because you twist your story, your narrative, your whole perception around this concept, and you build so much proof around it that your mind just eats it up. And no matter how many people tell you that this is bullshit, it will not change at all. And the more you use it, the more you talk, the more you use the speak, the more you, this quote unquote speak, as in the more you connect with more people like that, because all your words connect with others that have the same language, not the same language as in they speak the same language, but they use the same words, the same lexicon. And you connect with them, and once you build a community around you that believes what you believe, it's so hard. I was lucky enough to not really get a lot of people like that, even though now I can see a lot of people around me that are doing the same thing and believe in strange ideologies, energies, trauma release type of thing, and weird fringe cults. And they don't see that they have certain ideas that control them so much. Once you are able to get rid of this one, just one bad idea and ideology that you have, and it has you. And the way I did that is part by, in part by noticing, instead of forcing this positive outlook, just noticing, like, the rationalizations that I was making for what I was doing, and being like, if someone said exactly this to me back, would I believe them? Or would I say, like, yeah, yeah, sure, you just lied to yourself? And it's like, I was doing that so much. I was lying to myself and not even noticing that I was lying to myself and rationalizing actions to myself. It teaches you to do that as well, to unconsciously lie to yourself. It changes words around to uh, make you feel like you're not lying to yourself. And you go like, yes, the garden is beautiful, the garden is beautiful, and meantime weeds are growing everywhere. So no, the garden is not fucking beautiful. Just open your fucking eyes and start pulling out some weeds, and you're gonna see weeds everywhere, because it changes your focus on other things, and your focus is like this big. And if you look at some point, everything is blurry. So you can be in a huge rut and not even noticing, because there is a small sliver of light above you. You've dug this huge hole, this 50-meter hole. You've just dug and dug and dug yourself deeper into the ground. And then they just say, look up and believe that you're gonna go to the light. Just dig deeper and you will go up. It doesn't make sense. You're going down. So just stay and look around, and you will. So I got into the secret, and then I got into some more fringe. Before I got better, I got into some more fringe ideas, like archetypes, but not the good kind, but the bad kind. I later learned that these were tarot, tar, the cards, whatever, archetypes. So, dude, I listened to that book like 1,000 times, both of them, and I just gravitated to shit. If I would have later, I picked up a business book that was highly regarded, and I was like, when I listened to that about 500 times, I was like, holy shit. Imagine this was before you had access everywhere with to social media. So that's why it was so easy to listen to books for hours and hours, because I didn't have access to many more books. I didn't like music that much. And that's how I was listening to so many books, so many times to a book. I was just commuting and just listening to books. And I couldn't afford more books, so I listened to 4 or 5 books in total. So, but on repeat. And I was thinking, and it was really useful to listen to it so many times, to the ones that actually helped me, and even the ones that didn't help me and actually hurt me. I learned quite a bit from that. But I wouldn't recommend, you can get those lessons without just getting so deep into trouble. So you untwist yourself from the whole manifestation situation by noticing, sitting around and noticing and keeping track of all the things that you say, all the things that you think that if someone else would have said it to you, you would be like, that's a big fat lie. That's a that's not good. You shouldn't say that to yourself because it's not true. And try to say things for a while. Try to be brutally honest, even though I hate that term. Just be brutally honest about your situation. Sit down for 20 minutes and every month or week and write it down and be like, let's be honest about this. And if you cannot, try to, I don't know, say, if everybody knew exactly, because that's how they get you. If everybody knew what I was doing and what I was into, would they approve? I'm not saying that's a good idea to do. Like, most people will not understand what you're doing, but there is a big difference between not understanding and fully fucking disagreeing because of ethical reasons or other reasons as well. So if it's just because they don't understand, but they wouldn't have the problem with a problem with the concept itself, that's fine. But if they really have a problem with the concept and the fact that you are doing it and it's very bad, and then that's a bad thing to do. So that's how you see, if you are unable to see, to perceive the world as it is because you've been into manifestation for too long, then you need to go and think about, like, for instance, what would my mom think of this? And if the answer is like, she would be pissed, then you might have something bad. If she would say, like, she wouldn't understand it, but she would be fine with it if it brought me success, then yeah. I'm not saying that you don't have the freedom to do whatever the fuck you want. Do whatever the fuck you want. Don't listen to your mom, don't listen to me, don't listen to anyone. But maybe sometimes be a bit conscious of the fact that certain things have a paycheck, a bill. Like, if you do something bad, a bill is going to come to you and you're going to be like, fuck, now I need a psychologist. Now I need a shrink. So we are not noticing the trauma that we're causing to ourselves sometimes if we lie extensively to ourselves. And that's basically what happened to me. I lied so much to myself that I had to rewire my brain. I had to, the manifestation and the secret was right before I started meditating, in between where I quit quit drugs and then started I started the secret, and then just about 9 months in, I just denounced the whole secret. I changed my life and I started meditating. And once I started meditating, I really was into some better things, not fully into some great things. I just changed a few gurus around, but I was just searching and searching and searching for someone to really be that figure of wisdom in my life. And you go down some rabbit holes very fast if you keep on searching for the next guru and the better guru, because they're gonna just sell you. And I didn't buy anything. I didn't really buy anything except for a few books. I didn't have the money, thank God, but I would have been ready to buy some shit if I had the money then. But later down the line, when I had money, I was like, understanding like, fuck you guys, you are cult leaders, all of you, and you prey on people's emotions, you use high pressure tactics to sell people. And I kept seeing that, and I held that belief in my mind fresh every time. And I was seeing all of my friends who are having a lot of money do the same problems and buy the same products and info products and guru products. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. You just gave $1,000 to some random dude who really pushed your buttons and preyed on your emotions and lied to you. And none of them, none of them had a great experience, good experience. Their life didn't change dramatically. And yeah, and I started looking at what changes people's lives actually. And it was small, deliberate actions called momentum. So today was a little bit of a long day, not because I did anything. I watched two movies, I washed Sophie, I did some laundry, I did some cooking, I did just a few things. And yeah, that's what I did today. I also did not keep my diet. I had a cheat day in all kinds of ways, and the day is not over. I still have to edit this video and two more videos, and probably post a few as well. And of course, upload them and schedule some. So it's quite late. I think it's 2:30 o'clock or 3:10. And yeah, I'm just gonna work. I'm probably gonna edit and then go out with Sophie and let the machines render as they go.